And aha, the usual reminder, everyone, please, if you're here in person, mute your cell phones. If you're at home on Zoom, make sure your microphone is muted so you hear us and we don't hear you. Um, and our speaker tonight is also from UMass, but is not a computational scientist. Is a professor of voice and music, and well, and maybe I'll just let her explain the rest. So please welcome Marjorie Melnick.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to the people on Zoom who I can't see, but I know you're there. We're trying to get the computer to, there we go. So we leave the light on full.
I'm going to turn that.
Sorry. All right, well, while we're fiddling with that, there you go. First bird, I say hang on to your hats because we're going to see a lot of birds tonight. I have been, as Josh pointed out to me, I have been on 5 continents in the last 18 months birding. And I didn't know when I told my sister, she said, well, if you put it that way. Now, she is one of my fans, but still. Wait a second, I don't want to do that. I want to make this. Okay, what you're looking at here is a bird from Africa. I was in Tanzania in the summer 2 years ago, a year and a half ago now. And this is, as you can see, a spectacular picnic bird. It's at the picnic table. It was everywhere. I'm going to back up to the first shot. We saw this driving by and I said, stop, stop. And of course he said to me, you're going to see them everywhere. Don't worry about it. And it was true. This is a superb starling. I agree with that name. It's really superb. Brilliant blue with this orange or brownish orange and white and that beautiful white eye. And if I'm going too fast with these pictures, just yell out and say, give us a little more time. This is the same bird taking a little bit of a sand bath, as they will. And this looks like the same bird, but you might note the red eye. This is a Hildebrandt starling. I wish our starlings look like this. I mean, I like our starlings, but this is still, so the white eye and the red eye, okay? And I did want, except it started with pictures sooner than I wanted it to, I did want to say that my whole birding experience, you people are much better birders than I am, every one of you. But my birding experience started, I had been taking pictures only of insects for like years. I think I started in 2003 with 1 macro lens, and that's all I had. And we had an exhibit that Estella's partner, George, helped me set up that was in Henyon's Bakery. That was my highlight of my life. And just insects, bugs. And I loved that. But bugs, as you all know, are disappearing. I mean, the bugs that I saw in 2003, I don't see anymore. And it's frightening because, of course, that reflects onto the bird population and so many other things, obviously. So I bought myself a long lens, and my sister said, come to Costa Rica with us. Actually, she said, we'll take you to Costa Rica. And so it was very exciting for me. I had never been out of the country on such a trip. I had lived in Europe for a number of years, but really hadn't looked around the way that one does with a camera in the hand. And so I had this 400 2.8 lens, and this is what all of these birds were taken with, most of them freehand, just for the record, but some of them with a tripod, of course. So after my sister took me there, I just couldn't get enough of it. And I wanted to go back to Costa Rica, which I did, which you'll see later. But in the order of this 18 months, it's first in Tanzania. And this is a wonderful red-billed hornbill, which is, I want to see if I can see my own notes here. Yeah.
Is there any chance you could press the OK at the top saying that it's being recorded?
Oh, yeah, let's get rid of. Oh, yes, I could, but I have to get out of here first. That's okay. We'll go back to full screen. And that should be, oh, and actually I wanted to put it on this. So we really get the, oh, is that okay?
Yeah, that's better.
It's better. It's not as much. Okay. And you see talking Melnick, but that's okay. Okay. That's me, by the way.
That's not the species of bird.
No. I'm not quite as loud as these guys. So I only have one picture of this red-billed hornbill. They were also at a lot of the picnic grounds in Tanzania. But we were in, by the way, in Tarantire, which is a park, the 6th largest park for our first day there. All the things I was going to say at the beginning, you're getting piecemeal now. All right, and then we move on to these. They have wonderful names, von der Deckens hornbills. And this is a little conversation that I witnessed. She wants to talk. Actually, I think it's he who wants to talk. No, you're not going to talk to me? Okay, I don't like you either. Oh, okay. What do you want to say? And then they have their argument. So that was just, I'm constantly anthropomorphizing both bugs. Another thing that you'll see is that I love birds' eyes and I love birds' eyelashes. And I take a lot of pictures as close as I can get. So if I'm lucky enough that it's not, super far away, I just think it tells you something about the bird and you could decide what that might be. But this is one of the hornbills. Then there were these white-capped or white-headed, I think they're called, I got to make sure, white-headed buffalo weavers. And also a striking bird, can look awful silly. I also like silly birds. And when they fly, you get this wonderful pattern of their wings. And they were everywhere. We saw them throughout the whole 7 days that we were in the mainland of Tanzania. Secretary birds. How many of you know what secretary birds are? Some people do, some don't. Well, the secretary birds are so named because of those quills apparently on their heads. And my friend that I was with, there were just two of us on this safari together. And Jackie just loves secretary birds. And so when we saw them on our first day, we were so thrilled. Apparently those legs, which you don't see much of here, can kill a snake and they eat them. So this is a very strong bird. I would say it's probably about, I don't know, 4 feet or 3.5 feet tall, maybe 3 feet. I might be exaggerating. And we were up pretty close to them. You can see they like to do things in pairs. And then at a little later on in the day, we saw one walking in the grass and watched him take off. Quite striking, right? And then we're going to move on to the other big birds that you all know, of course, the ostrich, the male ostrich in this case, and we saw many of them. I put this silly picture in there, not because he was mooning us, but because the feathers that you see on the side of the bird are what they were practically, made obsolete over or extinct from, because this, as you can see, would have looked nice in a lady's hat. And so many, many, many were killed for that silly reason. And they are also, we didn't see tsetse flies, which I was worried about. We didn't have any mosquitoes, but they certainly bothered the animals. And so I don't think those are tsetse flies, but they are, just everywhere for the poor animals. How about this guy? This is a lilac-throated roller. Or breasted, I guess. These rollers are so called because part of their mating takes place in the air where they roll down as a couple. And there are many, many types of them. This one, I'm showing you the one that we saw in Tarangire, but here's one that we saw while we were in the Serengeti. Oh no, this one was still in Tarangire, but isn't that cool with the tail? I just think it's amazing. You see that? I mean, we don't see that, do we? We see wonderful things, but we don't see that. And this guy had, believe it or not, this is the color of this grasshopper. And like the kingfishers with their fish, just thrashing it about and then tossing it up to catch it again. And turned around and showed us his back while he ate it. And I think that is just mean-spirited of him. But that's what happened. All right, and who comes next after that? Oh, the white-crowned shrikes. Shrikes were everywhere. And they're a very striking bird. And as they would pass us on our Jeep, we would, both of us, Jackie and I, what was that? Oh, a shrike again. Because they have this, very striking white, black, and brown pattern. And here were two of them looking awfully cute. Okay. And then this is a magpie shrike, also seen there. Obviously, for its coloration and long tail, we kind of get the similarity. Seen from a different angle. In these acacia, I think acacia, you people may know better than I do, these thorny trees where they all have to land and they use the thorns as a thing to land on. I guess they're very strong in that way. And now we went on to Lake Manyara, which was our second day. I have to tell you, on our first night, I couldn't sleep. It was the images going through my mind and the sounds. It was just like a circus in my head. And then we got to Lake Manyara and we saw more hornbills. Now, if you had to name this bird, what would you call it? What would you name it after?
Here.
What was it? Anybody? A double hornbill, something like that, right? No, it's named the silver cheek. Silver cheek. Seems to me that it's kind of a silly thing to, but it does have a silver cheek, and he looked at us and talked to us for a bit. So an amazingly large bird in the tree. And another hornbill that will surprise you is this guy who danced for me. This is the southern ground hornbill. And they're large and they are on the ground mostly. So here's three pictures. Oh, and again, check out these eyelashes. I mean, which of us wouldn't like to have those eyelashes? Just amazing. Okay, and the next one, oh, here we have the the African crowned eagle, which our guide told me was a harrier, and I was so thrilled. I wanted everyone to see an African harrier, but it wasn't. It's a crowned eagle, and they're really astonishingly beautiful birds. There were two in that tree, but that's the only decent picture, unfortunately, that I got. How big? You know, it's so hard to tell the size of a bird, but they were eagles. I mean, wingspread was big. They were big. It's hard to tell. The next thing here are two mouse birds, and I don't know if you can see the tail on the one that's got its back to us on the tree. There were four of them, and I watched them just climb up that tree and then fly away one at a time, as if it was like some sort of a act they were doing. And I called to the guide, stop, stop, stop. And we backed up. And by then there were only two, but you can see the tail a little better in this picture. And how about taking off? It looks like it's part of the branch, doesn't it? It still looks like part of the wood. Do you know what bee eaters are? Everybody? Bee eaters, when I first saw one, I went, this is the most beautiful bird I've ever seen, except for the roller. And the bee eaters build their nests in the sand. So that's what this one is doing, either building or going in at that point. This is called the little bee eater. And when we get to Sri Lanka, you'll see several other types. This is a red and yellow barbet. I mean, the colors, you just can't believe what you're seeing. It's like somebody painted him, right? Red and yellow, sorry, I got his name backwards. Red and yellow barbet, okay? And we saw many barbets that are equally beautiful in Sri Lanka. Two kingfishers, the pied kingfisher, also you'll see a picture from Sri Lanka of that one. And what would you name this guy if you had to pick a color? Red, right? Red-billed, yellow-tailed, or blue-tailed. No, a gray-headed. I'm sorry, I could do better. Anyway. And then we got on to the Serengeti finally. I should have asked, have any of you been to Africa or been to Tanzania? Yeah, a few. So remembrance of things past for you all. I hope you enjoy them. These are the great white pelicans. Whoops, went too fast. Great white pelicans. They were always in groups when we saw them. The Serengeti was in the dry season, why we weren't, totally tortured by the bugs. But there are still plenty of watering holes and whatnot. So that's where they were. And these are the little, I think they're called red-beaked, I have to look it up, but they're oxpeckers. And on every big mammal, I was trying to do only birds, but here you get part of a giraffe. On all the mammals in the Serengeti, you would see these guys eating their insects. But they in themselves are so adorable, aren't they, with their little red eyes? Really cute. And then on a walk, I saw this amazing bird. This is a finch. And this is it's called the purple, it looks pretty blue to me, but purple grenadier finch. We saw them twice, but this one posed, which was really nice of him, in the sun, no less. Tawny eagle, beautiful eagles, lots of them. I'm going to move through them, but if you want me to stay longer, just hold your hand up and I'll try and do that. This is the brown snake eagle. They do eat snakes. Martial eagle, I have several pictures of this. This is a young one, and I included it for that ruff on the back of his neck. It's just so amazing looking. And the young one is light colored. You'll see an adult in a minute. And when he looks, oh, I'm sorry, that he's got the thing right on top of his crown there. And taking off, get a sense of what's underneath. And then we saw much later in the trip, in the Serengeti, we saw this adult, and he looks light, but that's only because the light is flashing, speckled on him. In fact, he was a very dark eagle. And against that white and speckled front is really amazing looking. And underneath, we were trying to figure out, I think it is the leg of some small gazelle or something, if you can see. So he stood on that for quite a while. He had eaten the rest of it, apparently. He or she, I should say. So moving on from large eagles, we get to the largest flying bird in Africa, the Kori bustard. They didn't fly for us, but they do fly. And his small cousin, this is the white-bellied, small, but still like a sizable bird. This is the white-bellied bustard. Those are the only two bustards that we saw. Just to warn you, I'm only on page 2 of 5 here. A lot of birds coming your way. Okay, moving on. The next is another roller, the rufous-crowned roller. Okay. And there are 2 pictures of this one, quite different from that beautiful lilac crested one, and doesn't have such a long tail as the other one did. Doesn't have that forked tail either. Storks, I love storks, and I've always wanted to see them. And just a week before I went down to Africa, I was in Germany and saw my first stork there. But this is the yellow-billed stork here with 2 juveniles, which I thought was fun. And in that background, what you see, that lump is a hippopotamus, and it smelled like it. So you can smell the hippopotami several miles away, it seems. They're smelly guys. This is another picture, a little bit better, of the stork with the 2 stilts behind it, the black winged stilts in that case. Moving right along, this is the ugliest stork. This is called a marabou stork, and it's known as the ugly stork. Poor thing. It looks more like a vulture in a way than a stork, right? Kind of, yeah. Anyway, there were some of those. Okay, so the kites, can be called either a black-shouldered or a black-winged kite. We saw them also in Sri Lanka, and I have some good pictures from there. Love those eyes. Apparently, there's actually a black-shouldered hike that's from Australia that's quite different, but these are misnamed either way. This is another picture of it where it looks a little blacker and it's a different bird in the Serengeti still. And then we have the francolin, which is more like a pheasant, about the size of a pheasant without the lovely tail. Also at a picnic site, by the way. It's the only time we could get off of the Jeep was on a picnic site. So it was nice to get out and be able to get on the level of the birds, because you have to take all the pictures downwards from a Jeep, right? If they're on the ground, you don't quite get the right angle that you'd like best. So now we have a gray-capped social weaver. And this is the way that they weave their nests. So that's kind of a cool thing. And there were lots of those to be seen, lots of weavers. I suppose that buffle weaver is also weaving that kind of a nest, but we didn't see those that I showed you, the white and brown one. Aw, everybody just say, aw, so cute. These are little Fisher lovebirds, by the way. They are endemic to Tanzania, and they are so cute. They're about the size of parakeets, not really at all. Hard to see. Oh, don't look. This is what they're telling you. Don't look. We're not doing anything. But they are. So these are lapwings. These are the crowned lapwings, and just happened to see them at a moment of love. Speaking of the lovebirds, got those guys. And nothing would be complete in the Serengeti without the vultures. So the first one is the hooded vulture, which was waiting patiently at a lion kill. So the lions had eaten you have to look at any of those pictures, but lions had eaten a buffalo, and there were 3 female lions, 3 babies and 1 male. And one female was just spread out like this on her back the whole time. And the little babies, which weren't so little, would go eat from the buffalo. Then they'd go suckle on the one that was just sitting there. She never moved. She was just a fountain of milk for them. And then we have the white-backed vulture. Oh no, this is another one of the same kind. And you can see vulture material on its nose. It had just chased a hyena away from something. And this is a white-backed vulture, excuse me. And in the heat of the day, this is what they looked like. And we thought they were dead, but they were just hot, very, very hot. And it was hot there, I have to say. So that represents 4 days in the Serengeti, and they were beautiful long days. It was just wonderful. Then we went on to the Ngorongoro crater, which is the birthplace of civilization. And this is a beautiful gray-crowned. Gray-crowned is an odd name again, since the crown is clearly beige. But anyway, gray-crowned crane. There were 5 of them. They were never close enough to get all 5 of them in one shot with my large lens, at least. But, oh, I forgot. I did put a hat on it. Photoshop does wonders. Yeah, they're amazing. And in fact, I saw 2 of them in the Tucson Zoo last year when I was out visiting my brother. So, but they're really beautiful, beautiful birds. It was astonishing. And several ibises. This is the sacred ibis. You can see that they have that blue on their tail, sort of an aqua color, the both of them, the one in the back as well. A beautiful bird. And the skies were just filled with like wall-to-wall ibises and cranes and God knows what, everything flying.
If you want to share, it would be interesting to hear total number of species in the Serengeti and
Oh,
if you know.
I know in Costa Rica, but I don't honestly know. We were there yeah, I wish I could tell you. I didn't bring any pictures of birds that you see here or you would see in Florida because I assume a lot of you have seen them. So the flamingos and the teals and the avocets and so many birds that you could see if you go to Florida. So I figured, listen, I think I've got 176 slides here. So, and there were I had to cut it out and some of the things. So I don't know exactly. Oddly, I have 176 slides, but we did see 176 species just recently in Sri Lanka because we had a list of them. And this one, we didn't keep a list. There were an awful lot of pictures in here of other animals as well, of course. This is a black-headed heron, unusual for us. And oh, this is a kukal. Do you know the kukal is a member of the cuckoo family. And this is sorry, one second. It's a white-browed kukal. Doesn't look anything like the ones that we saw when we were in Sri Lanka. But it's very fun. It looks like it has quills, and it was just all puffy like that the whole time we were watching it. And then, forgive me because I'm going to show you some cats, but the lions, the leopards, and the cheetahs you all can see on anywhere you want to look. But we saw the serval cat in the Ngorongoro Canyon or crater. And this cat some people hold them as pets here. I would not. I have a very wild cat of my own, but that is not a cat I'd want in my house, and certainly not with children. It's large. It's probably like in length, it's probably 2.5 feet or longer. And it stands fairly long legs. It stands pretty tall. And then we saw this caracal cat. This is the mama, and she had 2 kittens. And she was trying to get them off of a rock that was very close to us. And this is actually my favorite picture of the entire time I was in anywhere. That is one of the babies. And it was just so adorable, just definitely was not going to get off that rock for the mother. She came up twice and yelled at them. Finally, they followed one after the other. And so then we move on to Zanzibar. And Zanzibar is, for those of you that might want to take a trip to Tanzania, it's very hard to find a tour that won't insist that you go to Zanzibar. And the idea is you had so much work being on the safari, now you can go and relax on the beach. And I said, I did not fly this far to relax on a beach because I could relax on a beach just 90 miles away from here, right? So instead, we took the southern tip of Zanzibar where the colobus monkeys are. This is endemic to Zanzibar, and you won't find them anywhere else. So the redback colobus monkeys, I went the wrong way, sorry, look like this. They are adorable, and they're decent size. They're not enormous, but they're definitely full-size monkeys, and that little baby, and I guess the partner is there. And then they don't mate with the blue monkeys. The monkey on the far side, well, for you people over here, this monkey is a blue monkey, but they live in harmony, perfect harmony with them. They play, the young ones play together, they eat together, they feed each other, they groom each other, they just don't mate. And so you will see what this little baby is going to do. He bites the hand of the blue monkey and eliciting this response. So I just thought that was worth sharing since we're not doing many animals, but there's one more. There's one more little tiny. I think it was part of play. The mother's just looking on adoringly. Anthropomorphizing as I do. No, that didn't, it ended there. They just went and did their thing. It was just one moment. And they continued to sit together. So the next one is called an elephant shrew. It's neither an elephant nor a shrew. Looks like this, but you can see where it gets its title. And they're considered good luck to see. So I was really happy we were at the spice farm and my eyes wandered and I wandered away from the spice farm people talking to us. And I got this picture of the elephant shrew, which made me really happy. But we'll get back to birds right now. Okay, so on Zanzibar, I actually only have a couple of birds to show you. This is a striated heron. As you can see, it looks a lot like our night herons, size-wise and shape-wise. And I thought it was, but it turns out it's striated. And then I thought this was a black heron, and I was so excited because they do this funny thing with their wings, and I kept watching it. It's not, it's a morph of an egret. So, and if you look carefully, you can tell I probably should have known. And certainly from its coloration, you could see the egret in there. But so those are the only two birds. It was not a very birding place down there. There were a lot of butterflies, a lot of wonderful things, but birds less so. So we're moving on to Costa Rica. How many of you have been to Costa Rica? I was hoping so. I hope this is reminiscent of the joy you had there. So in Costa Rica, I went down, ostensibly, I went down to see Costa Rica, but in order to get a sabbatical and permission to go with a full salary for a semester, I went down to study Spanish. Uh-oh, somebody's listening. I did study Spanish and I took I guess about in total a 6-week course in Spanish, and please don't try and speak to me in Spanish right now. But I can tell you about the birds. So, oh, this was the goodbye from Zanzibar, just by the way, just for fun. That was the view from 2 feet off of my porch where I was staying. And there's a bird in there somewhere. Yeah, it was really lovely. Okay, so right near San Jose in the park, this is a 3-block park, very small, great kiskadee right off the bat. And they're just, so much fun to see when they fly. They're gorgeous that way too. And then how about these guys? These are motmots. If you have not encountered a motmot, I suggest that you look for one with their wonderful tails. And I'm going to tell you a secret. Maybe I shouldn't. I will tell you a secret. So I had 2 pictures of the motmots and they were both facing back. So I took one of them and put him in here on Photoshop. I'm terribly sorry, but I wanted you to see the front and the back, and I didn't want to show you too many pictures. And then in the background is yet another one facing directly front. So, and this is in a little park, again, another park in the little town of Heredia, where I was staying. And another bird, so that was a motmot, and then this is a mottled owl. And you can't live in that park if your name doesn't start with mot, I found out. I'm trying competition with the person who was getting laughs last time. Anyway, this is a mottled owl that was in a very, very dense bamboo section of the park. And this park belongs to a hotel and a restaurant, but the birds are, free to come and go. And here's what was this? It's a white-tailed, sorry, I gotta find a kite of some sort, but yeah, it's just called a white-tailed kite, just flying over me on my 25-minute walk from the school back to the house where I was staying. How many of you know what oropendolas are? Yeah, so I'm going to just get off of this for a second, and I'm going to take us over. Oh, can I do it? I want you to hear the oropendola just for the heck of it. Can I get this to work? Let's see. How do I make it go? Oh, shoot. Oh, I'm on the other thing. I'm not where I want to be. Here is sorry, folks. Here he is. Let's hear him one more time. I mean, that was worth having a moment of looking for him, right? Oh, here he comes one more time. Sorry. Hit the wrong button. So when I went with, where's our thing? Oh, yeah. Oh, I think it's over here. Yeah. okay, sorry. When I went with my friend Jackie to Costa Rica, this was my second trip. We were staying in the wet, what is it called? The rainforest. And it was raining and we were inside and we heard this sound. And it was like, the Martians have landed. What the heck? And we went outside and we found these beautiful birds, which you'll see. And these pictures were from that time, but they were just falling out of the tree, fighting with each other, making the unbelievable racket. And this one is a slightly different one. If you look at the faces, you can see there's quite a bit of detail on those faces there. And so this other one is called a chestnut. I'm just double checking. It's called sorry, should know this off the top of my head. Oh yeah, chestnut headed, a little bit different. These nests that they have is where they get the name pendula from, because they look like pendulums. And they also say that possibly they're called that because they hang upside down so much, and they themselves look like a pendulum. Okay, and then we went to one of these restaurants that feed birds, and I'm sorry to say that these are unbelievably beautiful birds, and it is kind of cheating, but I didn't take pictures of them eating. I tried to get them when they were away from the feeders. So this is another barbet. And the barbets seem to be named pretty nicely. This is a red-headed barbet, okay? It's not like the other ones we saw. And this is a pronged bill. I don't know if you can see, but his bill has like the bottom of it is 2 and the top one is 1. Pronged bill barbet. And this one is a red crimson collared barbet. And again, I love taking pictures up close, so just a stunning bird. And then we have some tanagers. This is the southern tanager. That was not taken there. I took it somewhere else, but there were southern tanagers there. In fact, I fell into a ditch trying to take a picture of one of these. I took a step too close and fell right into the ditch. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. And this is a toucanet, an emerald toucanet. And I saw them a couple of other places with a baby though this time. So that one was really cute. She did feed her baby, but they were way back in the back where I couldn't get any pictures of it. So those are the pictures from the restaurant. Oh, there were 2 other ones, I'm sorry. This is my favorite of all the tanagers down there, although they're all gorgeous. This is a blue-gray though. Isn't that just a gorgeous bird? I don't know. Something about the color is just striking. And this is a silver-throated tanager. So I never knew, you probably did, but I never knew there were this many tanagers. They're really incredible. And then a preview to what you're going to see with the person who's coming with hummingbirds from Costa Rica. Because when I went to see the quetzals, they had so many hummingbirds in this area. And so this one is called the lesser violet ear. As you can see, kind of looks like a violet ear colored. This one is the Rivoli, or Rivoli, maybe it's pronounced. Very striking. And this one is the Talamanca hummingbird, also very beautiful. What about that guy though? This is the mountain gem, a white-throated mountain gem. Absolutely stunning bird who posed for me endlessly. Thank you.
It's good to ask if you Photoshop, you mentioned briefly, and whether you want to talk about Photoshopping and what you're doing to create these images in terms of your equipment.
I do as little as possible. The only thing that literally was Photoshopped was the Mot, and that was just for fun, actually. But what I do with Photoshop is I have to do as little as I don't think this one had any because it was so bright. I will denoise a little bit. I take the noise out of the picture, because if you have a bird that is as far away as the back of the room even, and in your lens, you can, it's a fixed lens, so it's 400 millimeters, that you can, I can what's the word I want? I can zoom in optically just to see that I'm seeing what I want, but it's not going to take that picture. The picture is this big and the bird is this big, so just a small little spot. So as soon as you do that and you blow it up, it's going to be noisy just because of the pixel situation. So and then if it's in the dark, you absolutely have to lighten it up. And when you do, you get all this pixelation. So yes, there's a little bit of just take that dirt out of the picture, and get it. Sharpening, I never do. If it's not sharp, I just don't do it. It's not worth it. And a slight adjustment of light. Yes, if it's too dark a picture, I will lighten it. But other than that, it's pretty minimal. I don't like to fuss with them. Any other questions about that? I mean, the photographers in the room.
Do you tend to refrain from doing digital zooming?
I can't. I don't even have I don't have any zoom. I have one length. It's a 400 millimeter, but it's a 2.8. So my lens is like this long, but the front of it is this wide. So it lets in a huge amount of light. And I decided for myself that I need light more than I need the stretch. So 2.8 gives me a huge amount of light. And 400 is not enormous. It's not a telescope. You can't look across the lake and get a good picture of anything. So optimally, if I want the best picture of something, the length of this room is perfect. Maybe I could go the room and a half. And after that, it gets harder and harder to make it a beautiful picture. So you have to be pretty close. Yeah, yeah.
You're a singer. Did you hear these birds singing? Can you actually feel that one has a high register and another has a lower register?
Yeah, but I'm kind of embarrassed. You have to ask me that. I'm a little embarrassed for all of you that recognize the bird calls. I'm still pretty terrible at it. I just, I remember the cardinal. I mean, there are certain birds that of course I know, but and I've spoken to other musicians. I say, I don't understand. I should have a perfect memory for this. And they say, I don't know. I have trouble too.
Just have to be out.
A lot. Yeah, and watch and watch and watch. And if you're too busy taking pictures, you're not listening as much. And that's kind of what I think is my problem. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, that's the mountain gem you're looking at there for all this. And this is my favorite, the Vulcano. This guy is just so funny looking. And even in this pose, he's just a funny looking. When he flies, he looks kind of normal, but sitting on a perch. And these guys were just all around. They were everywhere. So when we leave them, we are going to go see, and then at the Quetzal place, and if you don't know what the Quetzal is, you will in one moment, there was also this flaming tanager, yet another tanager, so beautiful. But here's the Quetzals. And this bird is, probably the bird is 10 inches tall, maybe as an exact, they're fairly decent size. And then the tail is like forever. And depending on the light, the same bird could look, and they have this bright red front, they could look green or they could look blue. And it's all, one of the persons showed me a feather and he held it up to the light. The same feather here is blue and here it's green. And so that makes them extraordinary to take pictures of and in flight. As you can see, they're just crazy looking. The first time I saw one, it was kind of, just barely daylight. And flying through the sky, it looked like people were flying kites. That's just looked like kites with the tails hanging from them. So that's exciting. And if you ever do go to Costa Rica, you should get to the rainforest where the quetzals are, or you can go to Guatemala. It's their bird, their national bird.
Guatemala, it's the national.
National bird.
Much better, you do much better.
Costa Rica. Yeah. Okay.
Either here or Monteverde.
Monteverde. Yeah.
This is that National Research Center.
The, okay. Yeah. What were you gonna ask?
Look how beautifully it matches the colors on top of the screen.
Yeah. I did that on purpose. That's photoshopped. He's actually blue and purple. Okay. And then we went down to Drake Bay. A friend that I met in Costa Rica and I went down there to work at a center for, it's called the Foundation of Corcovado. And it's down there to help teach the children about the environment. Big problem. People don't know. The poorer the people are, the less they care. And they know, of course, like everywhere else. And so we were going to all the elementary schools and talking to them, doing programs with translation about the environment and how they can recycle and what they can do. And while we were there, we saw this piratic flycatcher. They're called that because they steal the nests of the social flycatchers. A lot of birds are black and yellow or brown and yellow, and it's really hard at first to tell them apart. But this is the social flycatcher, which you can tell because it's building its own nest. So very much, but as you can see, they're very similar with that gray underneath is sort of a giveaway. And then my friend who was working at the foundation had two parrots in her yard. She just feeds them and they stay there. Sometimes they fly down to other places. And this is a mealy parrot. Most of the parrots are now parakeets, but this is still a parrot. I just love that eye, as you know, I've already told you. I'm fascinated by eyes. And in her yard was this, what is it called? I have to look it up, euphonia, but it's got to tell you which kind, spot crowned euphonia. And it was deep in a tree. So I had to lighten that picture it was very dark in that tree. Hard to see it even. And right behind the foundation, there were two toucans that were mating. Well, they were not mating, I'm sorry, they were courting. I don't want to jump the gun here. So this is a love bite, I assume, and they just were adorable. I watched them for like 15 minutes. I even got up and moved so that I was closer to them, I had to stop photographing them.
Obviously enjoyed that bite.
It was a successful bite. Absolutely. So a lot of toucans down there, but there just weren't that many birds in Drake Bay. When you got to the ocean, it's about an hour by Costa Rican time to get to the roads are very circuitous to get to the bay. And then even there weren't a lot of ocean birds that you would think. So I did take a picture of the leaf-cutting ants. I took a lot of pictures of the leaf-cutting ants, and this one was actually biting off one of the flowers that you would see them marching and carrying. And I thought some of them had great taste and were very artistic, whereas other ones just sort of picked up weeds. But they use this in their nests to ferment and create food for the brood, for everybody. And so everywhere you go in Costa Rica, even in the cities, you'll see along the lines in the sidewalk, you'll see these ants marching along with their heads held high and lots of stuff on top of them. It's hilarious, actually. All right, and then we went down to the southern tip of the Osa Peninsula, and there is lush. It's very lush. It was very different from the Drake Bay is also on the Osa Peninsula, but this was much more lush. And here is a black-faced solitaire. You can see his face is black, yeah. Nice little bird. These are guans. This is a crested guan. They both are, but this is one at a distance where you can get the whole bird, and then you know what's coming. The little bit with the eye. An amazing looking bird. And high up in the tree, they were there a lot. We saw several of those. Lovey-dovey parakeets. These are the red lord. Now they're called parakeets. They used to be called parrots. Also lots of those. And the spectacled owl, obvious reasons. It's wearing its spectacles. Again, dark, dark, dark. I just couldn't believe I could even get a sharp picture of it. So that one was lightened up in Photoshop as well, so that you could see it. A swallow-tailed kite. That was a bigger bird than the white-tailed kite that I saw up in the town. Beautiful bird, I think. And macaws always squabbling. And there they go. You think they're going to crash, but a minute later they like each other again. Same birds, I promise you. There were lots of them, but those were the same too. The caracaras are wonderful. This is a yellow-headed, don't know why it's called yellow. It's clearly got a white head. Yellow-eyed, they should call it. And then the crested. Unfortunately, doesn't have his crest up, but that black thing can stand up. Beautiful bird, really wonderful. And didn't see many of them. That was the only place that we saw the crested. The yellowhead I saw a few other places. And woodpeckers, this is the lineated. It's about the size of our pileated. The lineated one. And the pale-billed, the same size. Not on the same tree, although it kind of looks like it, but it's not. And this is yellow-naped. And so you get two pictures because I wanted you to see the red belly of this and all the colors it has. And then you can see the nape on this side. And that bird was seen, that bird was actually seen near Manuel Antonio. There are two different birds there. So then we went to the Corcovado National Park for a guided overnight tour, as you can read. And the first bird that we saw was this black-necked trogon female. And I love trogons. I think anybody would. Actually, you know that quetzal is a type of trogon, just for those of you for information. You see the long tail on this, nothing to compare, but it looks like the female shape of a female quetzal. And this is the male, a black-throated, both of them eating happily. And I like this picture because you can really see its blue eye and the colors in its tail, all the different markings on these birds. They are stunning. This bird, I saw a whole nest of a flock of them right on top of a garbage pile. And this was actually not taken in Corcovado, but we did see them there, but this is a better picture of them. So you have to suffer to take pictures of birds. I had to stand at that garbage pile for 10 minutes with these birds. The garbage pile was waiting for the garbage person, by the way. It wasn't just garbage. Okay, so the trogons, and now this is a neat bird. It looks like a hummingbird, doesn't it? But it's considerably bigger. It's a jacamar. And we only saw it once. And this is a rufous-tailed jacamar, so there must be several other kinds. Beautiful bird, also right up above our heads for a long time on our walk in the Corcovado. And this is a wood creeper, a striped wood creeper, actually called black striped wood creeper. Also makes a very unique sound. I didn't bother putting it on there, but it's a unique sound. You can recognize it once you've heard it. Even I could recognize it. And this is a little puff bird. This is a white whiskered puff bird. If it hadn't been already a year and a half ago since I took these, I would have the names more on the top of my tongue. Sorry for that. Very sweet, again in the Corcovado. And these are the Corasau. This is the female. This bird is the size of a large chicken and didn't come out from the undergrowth for me. But here I saw it another time. The female is the brown and the male is the black one with this yellow bob on its nose. Impressive birds, I will say that. And tiger herons. Oh, no, sorry, I forgot about this little guy. This is the black-hooded antshrike, a bird I'd never seen before or since, but it was kind of cool in the Corcovado. And then we got up at dawn the next day. Oh, by the way, falling asleep and waking up to the sound of howlers right outside of your camping site is shocking, to say the least. So this is in the morning after very little sleep. At 5 in the morning in the dark, we got up with flashlights and we walked to the beach, hoping to see a tapir, which we did see, but you won't because this is a bird show. So these are the tiger herons, and they were lovey-dovey all over the place in a very strange light. I wanted to show them to you more what they look like otherwise. So this is one that I saw when I was in Samara. I love that cresty stuff on the back of its neck. And this one with the reflection in the dark water, which just struck me. I thought you might enjoy the picture, but it doesn't really show the tiger heron off much. Okay, Samara on the Pacific coast was the second place I went to study Spanish, and this is the first bird I saw. And so it was kind of like, whoa, where are we now? And this is called I turned the wrong page. Sorry, this is a blue jay of sorts. It's the white-throated magpie jay. I think I've got it right. Yes, the white-throated magpie jay. They were all around the school where I was studying, which was directly on the beach of the Pacific Ocean, which was very warm water. And this is, again, a yellow-naped, it looks quite different in this picture, a yellow-naped woodpecker. You know why it looks different? Because I'm wrong. It's the Hoffman's woodpecker. So sorry, it's not yellow-naped, it's the Hoffman. And this here, this is the same, just thought it was rather odd. These berries weren't all that big, but the perspective is kind of skewed in this picture. And look how much of that berry he's eaten. I mean, it's big. It's bigger than his head, considering his beak is right there, but it isn't that big. Orange-fronted parakeets, adorable, and especially adorable here. They were on my walk in the morning, very sweet. Again, like the lovebirds. And here we have kingfishers. So again, I didn't see so many birds at the beach as I would have thought. I saw some that you would have seen here, nothing unusual, plovers, same kind of plovers. But there was one place where I could reliably find various kinds of kingfishers. Anybody know what this is? It's the ringed neck kingfisher. You can tell from the white around its neck. And this is an Amazon, which I always thought of as being blue, but they can be this color. Everything I looked up, it said it's an Amazon, so I'm going to believe it. And this is the green kingfisher. So those were the three that I saw down there. Caño Negro is right on the border of Nicaragua, and this is a boat-billed heron, and they are nocturnal. They hunt at night. So it was getting dark and we saw this guy. Oh, I wanted to tell you about it. So you can see with the boat bill, they actually scoop water through almost as if they're baleen sort of whales. You know, they sort of scoop it up and they take whatever they can get, which was fun to watch. But it was too dark to get a decent picture. This is a green ibis. You can see the green on its neck and green on its bill and green on its legs and the iridescent feathers. It's quite a beautiful bird. This is a fun bird. It's a rail. It's a wood rail, in this case, a gray crowned wood rail. Beautiful bird. Saw it only a couple of times with its wings out. Otherwise, it looked rather ordinary, but this was wonderful to watch. And you know what this is, right? A cattle heron. Sorry, egret. It's getting late. Cattle egret, but when they're in mating gear, they have this brown color that comes out, which they otherwise don't have. And they were quite lovely, I have to say. This is a proto-notary warbler. How do you call it? Oh my God. Does it have a TH? Because I wrote it wrong then. Prothonotary. Okay. Do they have the? So we don't have them up here. Oh, okay. We'll keep our eyes out. That's a gorgeous bird. It was really quite stunning. So Caño Negro, if you ever do go to Costa Rica, I highly recommend that you go to this wetland and you go in the wintertime. And in fact, it would be, I went there, I was by myself. I went there in the end of February. And I would really suggest, or no, it was actually into March, in the end of March. Go in the February month. You see so many birds. It's unbelievable. And you're on a boat the whole time. You go on boat rides. You go every day out on boats here, boats there. I mean, I was with me and two guides and one boat driver. So it was, you know, they were all telling me look there, look here, look over. So many birds. It was really astonishing. So that's the prothonotary. Did I get it right? Okay, prothonotary warbler. These are the honey creepers. Absolutely adorable. They're really small. This is the female. That was the male. What's that? The red legs. Yeah, isn't that cool? And the front is this one color of blue, the back the other, and under their wings, they're yellow. So it's like a multicolored bird. The green is very beautiful too, but she keeps it all sort of a little bit more subtle. And then we have Kiskadees again being fed. This baby was really hungry. Mother kept bringing it food the whole time. Northern jacana is really very cool. When it's not, we have so many pictures. When it brings its wings up like this, it's spectacular. You can see the thorns on it so that it can fight with those. That's its fighting gear. But when it brings the wings down, it's just brown. And it's not very interesting at all. And then all of a sudden, whoosh, up they go and fly away. It's amazing. And look at those thorns. So this is another lapwing. This is a southern lapwing. And we did see the two of them go at it once with their wings out and the thorns out. And it was very exciting, but I didn't get a great picture. Here's the chick of the lapwing. And speaking of cute chicks, this is a black-necked stilt with its chick. So that was really sweet. We saw a lot of this kind of stilt in Caño Negro. And then the purple gallinule. So you know the common gallinule, we see them up here even sometimes. The purple one is quite spectacular with its coloring, at least. Otherwise, it looks more or less like the other one. Wood storks were up in this. These are all just, I had to leave out so many birds, but you see the black stilts there, the black neck stilts, the wood storks, and in the background, an egret. And speckled limpkin. Have any of you ever seen a limpkin or even heard of it?
Yes. Yeah, there was one in one of the southern, like Cohasset or someplace.
Really?
This
Ah.
first one ever in Massachusetts. Yeah.
Wow, isn't that cool? I'd never even heard of it. It was really exciting to see it. And right next to it was one of the several mini pygmy kingfishers. And so that made my day. They were so cute and they're so pretty and they're so little. And how can they eat a fish? I don't know, but they're wonderful. And I guess on 3 occasions we saw them there that were close enough to get a picture. Okay, are we on to Sri Lanka? You guys have really good, what we call Sitzfleisch. Thank you for putting up with so many pictures. Sri Lanka, stop one was we got picked up at 6 in the morning and taken to Coco Village Hotel on our way for our first journey. So they just dropped us off and said, have fun. In fact, they said sleep, which my friend Jackie did, but not me. So these are the first of the babblers that we saw. This is the yellow-billed babbler. They are also called the Six Sisters because they're never alone. I did take pictures of them alone, but they were in groups always. They're like starlings. They fly around in groups and they're very loud. They do babble. So that's easy to tell. And this guy was having a long argument with himself in a mirror. Motorcycle, 5 minutes. I'm not kidding. This bird was going at it, pecking and squawking. Just very silly. Okay, and then while we were there, I'm going to take a chance. How many of you know what a peacock sounds like? You've heard them? Well, do you mind if I just take a second to show you a peacock? Did I go the wrong way? Oh, I did this again. Wait a second. Now I'm lost. We're here. I have to, get out of it that way. Because it sounds like a cat is being killed. And we could not figure out for the life of us what this was, but here you go. I mean, doesn't it sound like our cat? So that's the peacock sound that we heard. And I said to somebody, one of the people that was working there, what is that? She said, I don't know, it's a bird. So there you go. Anyway, it was a peacock, but I'm not showing you a picture of that one because it was in the undergrowth. I finally found it and you could just barely see it. It was miles away, making such a racket. But we did see a lot of woodpeckers and we had a lot of arguments about which one was which. So we came to the conclusion that this one was in fact what did we decide? A red-backed flameback woodpecker. In the rain, as you can see, it rained a lot that day. So you can see the raindrops there and the colors are saturated. I loved it because it was raining. It was a nice way to take his picture since the rain didn't even have to get on he was low in the tree. It didn't have to get on my lens. This is a magpie robin, obvious reasons from the coloration. We saw them a few places. And this is a myna bird, and I've never actually seen a myna bird. I've only heard the songs about the myna birds and whatnot, but this was a myna bird, and I just thought this was hysterical. He's actually standing on something in the rain, but it just looks like he's heaven-bound. The angel picture. What I like about it is it shows you the underside of the wings. When they fly, you get that white, beautiful white flapping wing. And these are the scaly munyas. And obvious reasons, their front is all scaly and we saw them a lot. And this is a bulbul. Bulbuls are everywhere. There are several kinds. This is a red vented bulbul from the red under its tail. And in the rain, it was again really fun to take some of these silly pictures. And here he is looking very dignified. Same bird, the bulbul. So moving on to the first place we went, we got there in the total fog of an early morning. And you can see the fog is lifting. And this is a common kingfisher. Again, that color is just like, what? Wow. And there he is with a catch of some sort. I think it's a bug in this case. And then this is a white-throated one flying right at us. So there are 4 different kinds of kingfishers here. These are the storks. These are the yellow-billed storks. No, these are painted storks, my fault. The painted stork has that pink on its tail. And this is a juvenile on the far right. Yes, the far right of the screen. And okay, so this is a swamp hen. I don't think you should call this a hen at all. But anyway, it's a gray-headed. Again, gray-headed, really? It's kind of red-headed, but anyway, there is gray around the back there, as you can see, gray-headed swamp hen. And this is another hen. This is a white-breasted water hen. And now the fog had lifted and I could actually get some pictures. There was a gray heron out there. There were several gray herons. So that's one we don't have either. And this is the Indian pond heron. So if you looked at that bird and you thought you were going to see him fly from above, you might think he has brown wings, but look at that. It's the same bird. I don't get it. It's like a magician. There he is. And there he is. I still don't get it. I've been pondering this. He's a pond heron. I've been pondering it for a while. Haha. Okay, I think I'll leave the jokes out. Anyway, moving on to the Witapu, Wilpatu Park. So we hadn't, the next day we were going to go to the Wilpatu Park, but this was outside of it. This is another barbet, a brown-headed barbet. I think I have, nope, just one picture of that guy. And again, in a dense tree, this was by far and away, I have to say, photography-wise, the most challenging trip I've ever taken. Everybody was behind leaves. They did not believe in coming out. So if they came out for a split second, you just had to be there. But this guy was more than willing to come out. It's called a coppersmith barbet or a crimson-headed barbet, or fronted, I think, crimson-fronted, coming out of obviously a nest. And there you get all of its colors, those red legs again, and the orange around the eye, just so fun. Rose-ringed parakeets were everywhere. They're large. I mean, I would have called them parrots, but they're called parakeets. I think that pointed tail indicates that it's a parakeet, is what I was told, long pointed tails. And this one, I said to our guide, what is on its head? He said, I think it was probably an injury. Maybe it flew into something, but also it looks like something may have tried to grab it and it got away. Eating a mango happily. They were always eating. This guy's eating a pod, as you can see, and this guy's eating a mango. Well, they're hungry. That's good for them. And then we have where am I here? Another roller. This is the Indian roller. Only got him on this one wire. Didn't see him again after that. Orioles. So this is the beautiful black-hooded oriole. Little different from ours and quite stunning. And this is a tailor bird, and my friend Jackie was totally enamored of them because they take two leaves and large leaves, and they poke holes in them with their sharp beaks, and they get spider web or any kind of plant debris, and they sew them together into a nest around the edges. And then they bring soft stuff and put it in the middle, and that's their nest. So it is kind of enchanting. Little tiny bird, makes a big loud noise. Oh, how about this guy? So this is the Indian paradise bird, and they are flycatchers. And he was after one, and this time he caught one. And so that long tail is just spectacular. I'm sorry the picture isn't sharper, but I had to show it to you. And after that, we have, moving on right to the park. Right, our full day safari, it rained and it rained and it rained. When it wasn't raining, it was sunshiny. And so these are the green bee eaters that I promised you. Bee eaters, the green ones are just blue and green with a little bit of brown on the back of their heads and these long tails. And they're very sociable, and they do eat bees and other insects. So there you have one. So you can see when I'm really close up how much detail I can get, which I can't get if I'm a little further away. These are still the green ones there, green tails. And when they fly, they look like that. And so you'd be driving along, you think, what's that red bird? No, it's a bee eater, it's green. And this is a blue-tailed one, also eating. And I'm going to show you a not sharp picture, but that's just to show you the blue tail in flight. It's really quite astonishing. And then there's the chestnut-backed one. And here he's yelling at, as you can tell, see that little red on the back of that bird? It's a red-vented bulbul again, and he's mad at it, and he shoos it away. Now he's quite happy with himself. So there you have the four, those are the four bee eaters that we saw, three of the four. The fourth is a European one, which we didn't see. So moving along, these are the imperial doves. If you see them from the front, they're very boring, just gray, but from the back, they've got all this coloration, which is really lovely. They are the largest dove and in Sri Lanka. And this is a beautiful dove. This is the orange-breasted green dove. Green pigeon, sorry, it's not a dove, it's a pigeon. I don't know the difference. Do you people? There isn't one. Okay, I feel better now. Okay, it's a pigeon though. It's called a pigeon, okay? And then we get to the peacocks. Oh no, I wanted you to see the same bird because of its eye. Isn't that just astonishing? I want a contact lens like that. Wouldn't it shock the world? Just gorgeous. Okay, peacocks everywhere. It got to the point where, oh, it's just another peacock. You can't believe it. They're flying, they're landing at the top of the trees, they're in the middle of the trees. This guy just looked kind of, when do you see a peacock looking like that? Even in a zoo, they don't do that, I think. And then, hold your hat, there he is, full display, and you can only imagine the sound he was making trying to get the peahen to come. And the peahen was looking a little coquettish, but then she said, nah, no thanks, and walked away. So that was the end of that. Can I get rid of this again that's up here? I don't know. How do I get rid of that? Anybody? Okay, this is another endemic bird. Oh, it went away by itself. You just walked up and it went away. Good work. This is the jungle bird, and it's endemic to Sri Lanka. Many of these birds I've shown you are endemic to Sri Lanka, which is why people go there. Obviously I can't touch it. That's why it does it. Very, very beautiful bird, just emerges from the forest and then goes back in. And if you can get a quick shot of it, you're lucky. Jungle fowl, it's called. And the eagles, here is a crested serpent eagle in the rain. Again, in a way that makes it, makes the picture, gives it more depth to the color. And here's a woolly stork. You can see, he was close enough, you can really see the woolly detail of his neck. We saw them quite a lot. They're beautiful. A brown fish owl. We would have driven right past it, but Jackie spotted it. Isn't that something? Big birds. They're gorgeous and they're big. Yeah, that is called a brown fish owl. And then the cormorants, we didn't see, I understand that they have our size cormorants, but they have the little cormorant, which is quite different. If you look at its wing structure, its feather structure, I think it looks quite different. Brown and bluish, and it's about half the size of, or 3/4 at the most, of a normal cormorant that we know. Black-winged stilts were everywhere. They're such pretty birds. And the tiny button quail, there are 2 of them there, if you can tell. And we didn't see them but once, and my guide was like, take its picture, take its picture. They just ran across the road in front of us and then ran back again. And they're considering they're quail, they're, probably, what is this, about 8 inches, 6 inches, maybe 6 to 8 inches long. They're very small birds. And behind our hotel in this one place, we saw these prinias, they're called. This is the ashy prinia. Posed for me beautifully about 2 feet away from me. I just stood still. He came coming closer and closer, but as far away as he could get. This is a hybrid. This is a hybrid between a black-rumped and a black gold-backed, not black-rumped, lesser black-rumped, and a gold-backed woodpecker. And my guide tells me it's very unusual to find one, so I was really thrilled on my walk. And then we went into the area around the park, and this was the kukal. So if you remember that little fuzzy thing that I said was a kukal, a member of the cuckoo family, this is another one, quite different, large bird, probably about 18 inches long, maybe longer. And this is the Jordan's, we had a lot of discussion about what it was actually, but it's a leaf bird, and I believe it's a Jordan's leaf bird. And you can see it's taking this material from a dead nest and was flying with it elsewhere to build its own nest with it, I assume. Here's a minivet, and it's a little minivet. There are big ones, and it's a beautiful one. Tricolored munia, the scaly munia I showed you from where we first landed. This is the neighbor, the tricolored, and here's your pied kingfisher again, flying. Okay, this is the changeable hawk, because sometimes it has a crown, sometimes it has a big crown, sometimes it has no crown. And so it's called a changeable hawk. This is a purple heron with a fish, obviously. And this is the other, another hornbill. We found 2 of them here. This is the pied hornbill, also called the Malabar hornbill. And they were wonderful to watch, but I only show you 2 pictures. This was just too weird not to take its picture. You tell me what it is. I can't tell. It's a really bizarre bird. The next day we took a long walk together, but this is the only new bird that we saw. It's called the Shana. And it is also endemic here. It's got that long, beautiful tail. It's just a lovely bird. And it also has a lovely sound that was, just fun to hear. Horton Plains was you saw too many birds to take their pictures. It was really, you couldn't know where to look. This is called a dull blue flycatcher. It didn't look quite as dull blue as it does in the picture, but it wasn't one of those really brilliantly blue birds that you see, like this guy, for instance. And here's your basic nuthatch. It's called a velvet nuthatch. And it's, I'd like to have that nuthatch come to my tree. And then the endemics, I'm not even telling you all the endemics. Most of these are endemics. There's just a ton of them. The endemic scimitar babbler, another babbler that didn't seem to go in big flocks, but we saw them often. And here he is bringing some nesting material, same type of bird. What do you think you would call this bird?
Okay.
Bug eye, the white eye. It's called a white eye, obviously. This is one they named correctly. Unbelievably white eyes looking at you. And the yellow wagtail, other than the yellow, I guess it looks like other wagtails. And this is, the next one is also, this is an endemic. It's the yellow-eared bulbul, yellow-browed, excuse me. The yellow-eared is this one. So they're similar, but definitely not the same, right? Two bulbuls, and they're both endemic. No, I think it's yellow-browed, sorry, that's endemic. Let me read what I wrote. Yellow-browed and the endemic yellow-eared. Here's the endemic, this guy. Sorry for that. And this one, it's another yellow bird, right? But it happens to be an orange minivet. So who knows? Anyway, we went to the Yala Park and we saw these wonderful, I saw these in Tucson. I actually got better pictures of them there, but this is a glossy ibis. You've probably seen them some places, right? And the comical looking yellow wattled lapwing. What's that for? Like, what good does that thing do? But there you have it, very fun looking. Open-billed stork here. I don't know how they fish with that, but maybe they're hoping for a big fish that will fit in there. Obviously, whatever fits in there isn't going to fall out the front. There is that advantage. Here's a wonderful moment between these ibises. There were two black-billed, are they black-beaked? Sorry, ibises fighting, and a third one came to join in. Look at him pulling on the skin of that one. They were serious. And then really going at it, still pulling at that poor guy's skin, the back guy. And like, is this like holding up the white flag? I've had enough, stop. Okay, peacemaker. All right, you two, cut it out. Again, anthropomorphizing my birds. And up in the air, coincidentally, at that same moment, these Brahminy kites were going at it also. And but they took their fight into the woods and we couldn't see where that landed. But we saw these are beautiful kites. We saw them everywhere we went. Painted stork finally gave me a good portrait. Not too far away and you get all the colors. I mean, I don't wear orange and pink together, but maybe I'll start to. It's quite nice. Yeah, just like the 70s. And here you have a nice portrait again of the black-billed ibis. This looks like an anhinga, to any of you that have been in Florida and seen them. The difference is why it's called a dart is that darter is because of that little white streak on its neck. That is obviously there's more genetically to it than that. For those of you that are having trouble with the length of this thing, I'm almost done. Just so you know, I'm going a little quicker. This is a western, what was it called again? My friend corrected me. It's a western reef heron, not a gray heron. Looks grayer than the gray heron, but it isn't. And here is a white-bellied sea eagle, which we also saw the male flying right above in a nest the size of our eagle's nests. It's a big eagle. Crested tree swift. A swift, as you know, is quite small, and we just were taking a moment to look at it when all of a sudden in came its mate. And I wanted you to see the beautiful coloration on the mate's face. Reminded me a little of the male kestrel in that way. And then it flew off. It was a one done and off you go. And look, where did you go? That look on his face. And then we have the these, they don't have hummingbirds there, but they've got these wonderful sunbirds as they do in Africa as well. And so this is it's called a purple rumped. I don't know, it looks to me like a purple headed, but anyway, purple rumped. And this is a purple sunbird, absolutely beautiful. I love larks. This one is doing what larks do. It was the Jordan's bush lark. Indian Pita, which I saw in your book you gave me. That's a beautiful bird that's obviously from India. What colors? The first time we saw it, it was deep in the undergrowth and I couldn't get a picture. White-throated kingfisher again, the same one we saw earlier. You can tell from its back that it's the same bird because there's no white on its edge of its neck there like a common one would have. And the thicknees. I don't know if I'm right about this, my friend assures me that this is the knee of the bird. Is that correct?
Yes.
All you birders? Yeah. I don't know what makes it a thick knee, but that's what it's called. There are two kinds of them, so that's one of them. And how about this? Do you know the hoopoe? Anybody? Yeah, you do. The hoopoe is its name, spelled Hoopoe.
It's said both ways.
Hoopie.
Hope, hoopoe and hoop.
Oh,
Yeah.
Say it both ways again for me.
The hoopoe is the one I know best, but what's the other one?
Hopo.
Hoopoo, I thought.
Okay.
Hoopie, hoopo, I don't know.
They're all over Europe too.
Yeah, they're all over Europe, that's true, but I had never seen one. Southern and central, yeah. So this guy was taking a nice bath in the sand, as you can see, and just enjoying every second of it while about 20 Jeeps were waiting for me to take my pictures. They weren't happy. And he's got that wonderful crest, and then just a little bit self-contemplatory also. So that's called watching his navel. And then we went to the next park and we saw the black kite way up high, and then the black winged kite that I promised you, looking quite close to us, looking very quizzically at me like, are you taking my picture? Okay, so then we have the little guys. This is a lark, again, a sparrow lark, ashy-crowned sparrow lark, which was adorable. And a square-tailed, I got two pictures. I got to take my finger away. I keep hitting it. Square-tailed bulbul and a cuckoo. This is actually a cuckoo. This one is called where did I put him? It's a Jacobin cuckoo. And I just show you one picture of him. And there we have say it again, hoopoe again. This time on another day and in the grass. And apparently they're very unusual to see there, so I was really thrilled. Red wattled, we saw that yellow wattled with the funny shaped wattles. This is the red wattled lapwing and its baby. Not such a baby. Whistling ducks, we've got so many of them. These are the lesser whistling ducks. With the stripes, they look a little like wood duck babies, but they're not. And I was looking at this fabulous moth, which happens to be called a marbled white moth. And all of a sudden I heard the screech of parakeets and turned around, and the most amazing parakeet was right there. It's called a plum-headed. And I think that little squirrel was just as excited as I was. And to see them flying in, two of them, they stayed on the wires, not on beautiful trees, unfortunately. And they stayed there for about 1 minute and then off they took. So that was the thrill of my life to see those. I was just on a walk. I love it when I find them on my own and don't have them pointed out. So then we went to the last place we visited, and this is barbet land. This is the yellow-capped one, yellow-fronted barbet, quite a beautiful bird. And these are the laughing thrushes. They didn't laugh for me. It's called the ashy-headed laughing thrush. They're endemic also. And the Sri Lankan drongo, by the name, you know it's endemic, all black, beautiful bird, actually. And another parakeet I didn't even know I got on a shot. This is a gray hornbill down below that I was photographing. And so up above it is Leonard's parakeet, which is another endemic parakeet that I didn't know about. The gray hornbills were below, and we'll see them again. This is the orange-billed babbler. Remember, we saw the yellow babbler, but this is the orange-billed. I love that blue eye with the orange bill. And a pair of very, very shy, oh no, I forgot I have this other bulbul in there, the black-headed one, sorry. These are called spur fowl, and this is the male. And everybody told, the guide I was with was the only one. He said, don't move. they will fly away instantly. Just as slowly as you can lift your camera up, which is what I did. So that's the male and this is the female. Okay, and then another beautiful dove is this emerald dove, common it's called, but I only saw it once. I loved this flycatcher, blue and yellow. You don't quite get the blue that I saw in the light. It was just shockingly blue. And a flower pecker, it looks a little similar, Leges flower pecker. Frog birds, too funny for words. They're nocturnal, so they were sleeping at this hour. And in order to get this picture, I had to slide down a very steep hill and lie on my back. And that was the only way I could get this picture. And then the guide said when I came out, did they open their mouths for you? No, that was the whole point, he said. Okay, well, I didn't stay long enough. And then in the afternoon, there was some more babblers. This is a brown cap babbler. Oh, another bird. This was like a moment of great frustration because they kept saying, look, he's right there. He's right there. I couldn't even see a bird. And then all of a sudden I saw it and a minute later he flew away, but I did get the picture. And up close, oh, I should tell you what it is, called a malcoa and a red-faced malcoa. And this is what his face looks like up close. I just cropped it to show it to you because I only got one picture. The stork build, I'm showing it to you without his beak showing all the way because I wanted to show you the feathers and the wings open, which is the only way I could get it. I was right underneath him. He was very close. And that's what I mean by when you're close to the bird with this lens, you know, you think you could reach out and touch it. So that's the last of the kingfishers, the stork build. And we saw, as it was almost nightfall that day, we saw this green woodpecker, which is actually called a lesser yellow naped woodpecker. And we saw the hanging parakeets, so called because that's how they eat, upside down. They hang. And then we went to the park for the last part of the last full day, where we saw a brown cap babbler. Nope, that's wrong. Dark fronted babbler. Got the babbler part right. A chestnut backed owlet. Full disclosure, he was so far away and my camera was so heavy and I was so tired of carrying it, I couldn't hold it steady and I didn't have a tripod. And the guide I was with said, do you want me to try? He took this picture. I could not get a sharp picture. And even you can see it's not the greatest picture, but it was an unusual owlet. Black, and those eyes are just as usual with owls, just wonderful. That's a chestnut-backed owlet. And there was another trogon that we saw, and I could tell you a story, but I won't. And this scaly thrush was the one that made my guide's year. Because you don't usually see them come out from the dark. And he was able to get a good picture of it. So that's the scaly thrush. And then there was this is the same black-headed oriole that we saw. I'm really almost finished. Oriole that we saw, but it's a juvenile, so you can tell that. A spotted thrush, that's a nice bird. Another square-tailed bulbul, I didn't mean to put two in. And then the gray-headed hornbills, gray hornbills are just amazing. And they came out, this guy's thrashing this for about 5 minutes, that little caterpillar. I do like his eyelashes, but that was what I took the picture for. But he was doing that with the caterpillar because it was a hairy caterpillar. And if they get down until they've really like smoothed it out, it will hurt them. So he was going at it that way. And they fed each other because at this moment we were at a place where they were feeding the birds again. And he brought him a treat, or she brought her, I don't know, whichever they are. And then the last group of pictures is of the one that really everybody wants to see at this place. This is the blue magpie, and it's a stunning bird. I saw him fly in, and he looked at me, and then he too wanted a bite. So the other thing I like other than the eyes of the birds is their tongues. So there you have that. All right, so this is 100, we saw 176. Oh, I wanted to say the end, but I want you to know that I do appreciate our birds. So this is my last bird for you, which I thought is very cool ending. Okay, so we can turn the lights on. Thank you.